Hi, I'm Seamless, and this is the 40K tutorial number 6. I literally said what it was like 2 seconds ago, so I would know what it was, and then I forgot, because I have no memory. Okay, and this is a Snails sound. Snails. Actually, I emphasize the S as if it were spelled with a Z, and it's not. It's spelled with an S. The song this is from is called Slugs, and it's spelled with a Z. And this was requested by Dgremlin, and it sounds like this. That's what's up. So let's talk about what's happening. This is a vocoder sound. I'm doing it with Citrus. Let's listen to what Citrus sounds like before the vocoder. I'm going to turn it the hell down because, oh my god. That's happening there. Here I got a little silly. I probably didn't need to do this with two extra operators, but I wanted to see what would happen if I made a saw wave and then turned it into sine harmonics here and then messed around with the phase and ring modulated that. Instead of what I usually do, would just create I FM an output and then I modulate the FM so that it would that's just how I normally do it. But the result is the same. And by the way, you can do that by engaging a saw wave and then saying convert the sine harmonics, and then you have a saw wave and sine harmonics. That's a lot of fun. But I'm keeping that as a sine wave because that's actually outputting a sub reinforcement. So the way that you do the ring modulation, you go to the RM tab and you say, cool, ring operator number 2, you modulate the ones, basically the outputs, which are 1 and 3. So they're modulating 1 and 3. And I've engaged even and half, which as you see is a kind of a common theme for sounds I like to do. That's because it's a lot of fun. It's a little offset, and it's because I mess around with the phase, which you can do with the bottom side of the thingy here. This is the phase of whatever harmonic you decide to engage, which right now is just the bottom one. And like I said, I messed around with the sine harmonics of the saw wave creation, and then I also added in a sine wave that's being modulated by a triangle, which has some harmonics in there, and the phase is messed around with and all that kind of good stuff. So lots of high frequency action. And the reason there's high frequency action to that degree is because when I play the sound, not only do I want the sound sharp, but when I play lower notes, I also want the sound sharp. I want it to still sound sharp, not just low and slow, but also sharp. So the only way that can happen is if you have frequencies that are so high that when you go down low, they still sound high. So that's what's up with that. Once you've created this, I linked it into a channel in the mixer that has a vocoder. The modulator I used is this.
I was improvising.
I time stretched it just to be slower so that I have more vowel time to work with. And cut it up and arranged it just because. And then I have the Vocodex engaged. So I am actually automating something in the Vocodex. I'm automating the pitch. And it's not linked because I took it out. So I'm automating the pitch of the vocoder. Like I don't normally do that. Like I used to do that. If you look at the projects in FL Studio that have vocoder stuff, you can see there's actually a lot of vocoder parameters that I like to automate. But I've since then realized that I could achieve similar results without doing that. But for the time being, I decided to be fun and automate the pitch. I put all the parameters kind of as you see here, just because that's how they kind of decided to correct it to me. I put the order up to 4. Which some of my more recent tutorials I've stayed at like order 2, but this is a very vocody, like it's a really obviously kind of like obvious sound. Not that I'm saying that he used vocoding to do that. It's actually, there's a lot you can do in Massive that sounds very similar. But this is to get that sort of sound. Order 4 is good. Got the 47 bands, and I turned the filter fatness down to kind of halfway because it's sort of a trade-off. If you turn the bandwidth down too low, you get kind of a glassy, warbly sound. If you turn it too high, you get kind of like a flat sort of fat sound. And the filter fatness sort of modulates between the two. If you have really fat filters at a lower bandwidth level, you can get rid of that glassy tone. And then if you have really thin filters at a very high bandwidth level, you can also bring it back. So you can have a balance in between having high bandwidth and filter fatness amounts to kind of calibrate how that sounds to you. The bandwidth multiplier is also a bit far to the right, to the left. That's the left. That is the left. And that's what the farther to the left, the more it kind of hugs the events in the modulator spectrum to kind of try and adhere to them. Farther to the right kind of smooths it out. This is the bandwidth window that we're seeing here. This is so that like only right here it is higher bandwidth is lower here and lower there. Lower bandwidth equals more high frequency content for certain areas. So for the high frequencies, I gave lower bandwidth so that we can actually hear more sharpness. The band multiplier gain, band gain multiplier. I have the bass areas kind of off because I have the carrier leaking through. The carrier by default has a low pass filter here. I set the cutoff to a pretty reasonable parity with what I have the whole cut here. And this is so that the actual bass that we're hearing is the real bass coming from the carrier and not from the vocoder. That's what that is. And yep, that's that. What else do I got? I got high release, low, the default hold and attack time. I keep minimum times engaged. The pitch is different. This really screws with whatever kind of like vowel shape you have with whatever sound that we're doing. And so this is a really good way to make really unique sounding sort of profiles for things. Beyond also just messing with the pitch itself. Because this is pretty much the per band pitch setting. And that's it. That's this sound. Or that's that. And then I have it a Maximus. I'm evening out the low end. Kind of like making the mids a little bit fatter and then also evening out the highs. And then I have soft saturation engaged in the master, which is doing a little bit of extra distortion, but not a huge amount. And then I'm also a little bit of EQ. Just for final shaping purposes. Although final is a bit of a misnomer just because this is the naked sound by itself. And if I ever were to use this in a song, I'd probably end up doing a lot to it to make it fit more than whatever I did with EQ here. Which is not to say that this is the finished sound. This is what it sounds like if your song sounds like crap. It's because you've changed everything else except for the sound. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this is just sort of an exhibition of the sound by itself, which is not necessarily to say that it would work in a song with this EQ profile. Anyway, if you would like to make a request, the link to the Reddit thread where I am taking them is in the description of this video. If you have any questions about any of this, let me know. And as usual, have a nice day.